Hello everybody and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary. I want to tell you guys today about an affordable, attainable, and approachable 12-year-old Scotch that you probably haven't tried before. This is the Glenallachie 12, and it's just pretty good, but something, I'll get into all that in a minute. One thing I just want to say, from my own point of view, I walk past this whiskey constantly. Somebody had to recommend this to me before I ever tried it, and I think part of it is the labeling in the box. It just doesn't appeal to me on the shelf. I don't know if that's kind of in line with what you feel as well. It's something I talk about a lot on this channel is just buy things that look ugly because there's a good chance it's good, especially, given the price points or whatever. There's a good chance it's good, and there's a good chance that you'll be able to find it because it'll always be on the shelf because it looks ugly. But that being said, that's about the only negative thing I have to say about this whiskey. So let's talk a little bit about the distillery, and then we'll get into some nosing and tasting. This distillery was designed by the legendary William Delme Evans. He also designed the Tullibardine, Jura, and Glenallachie distilleries. There was a fourth one too, but things kind of fell through and he ended up leaving before it was fully designed. The intent was to use gravity to help feed all of the different parts of the whiskey making process. This is meant to reduce energy and ultimately reduce cost. They opened their doors in 1968, ran for many years, were shuttered in 1985 for 4 years, and then in 1889 it was opened again and has run ever since. Glenallachie is one of the very few independently owned and managed distilleries in all of Scotland, and one of those people is Billy Walker. Billy Walker's been in the industry for over 50 years. He started at Hiram Walker & Sons, he went to Inverhouse Distillers, he went to Burns Stewart Distillers, which owns Deanston and Tobermory Distilleries. He ended up helping to revive Ben Riach, Glenglasgow, and Glendronach, so if you've ever tried any of those brands, you have Billy Walker to thank. He is now at Glenallachie and has been for quite some time. All of the whiskeys made at Glenallachie are natural color, non-chill filtered, and they have a wide range in their core. They have the 8-year-old, the 10-year cask strength, the 12, 15, 18, 21 cask strength, 25, 30 cask strength, and then various different finishes. This is 12 years old, obviously. It's 100% malted barley. Now, it's aged in first and second fill bourbon, ex-bourbon barrels. It has virgin oaks, PX sherry, and ex-Oloroso barrels. So you've got some sherry influence here for sure coming up. It is non-chill filtered. It's natural color, although, sherry's gonna add some color to this, obviously. 12 years old does not look that color naturally. And it's about $55 to $60. Let's get into nosing and tasting. Everything about this nose just feels very cozy to me. It's warm and makes me eager for fall and winter. And I try not to sound this corny usually, but if you smell this, you'll totally get it. It's cinnamon, it's honey, it's butterscotch, little raisins in there, maybe a little chocolate as well. The only thing that's surprising, and it's got a heavy sherry influence, sometimes you get a lot of fruit on the nose. In this case, you're getting that raisin, which technically is a fruit, I guess, whatever. But it's heavy on more of the darker sugared fruits. Let's go ahead and have a taste. Cheers. Now, one thing that you might be wondering before I even get to the tasting is why is this bottle so full? Well, in this case, I finished a bottle while planning for this review, and I had to go buy another one just to do the review. So I'm not upset about it, but that might give you a hint as far as what my overall rating will be. Now, as far as the taste goes, you are sticking with some of those darker, kind of sugary, fruity notes, but let's go down the way. First, there's citrus too, so I'm going to start with orange, but then I'm going to go to plum almost immediately. Then I'm going to say there's this lighter bit here that makes me think of heather, which obviously not a fruit. I'm kind of all over the place here. Start with the citrus, go to a dark fruit, and then go to light and heather. But whatever, let's have another sip. All right, chocolate, cinnamon, raisins as well. There is figs, there's dates, there's just everything that you could imagine on a darker sherried flavor. This is almost like if you had a bourbon and you told me that it tasted like vanilla, cinnamon, honey, whatever else, oak. This is the same except for sherry, but it balances all of them very well. This is what I would consider to give somebody and say, hey, have you had a sherried Scotch before? This is a good choice to start with. All of the flavors meld really well, but they're also something that you could pick apart with a little bit of practice as well, or a little bit of water. I did add some water off screen. I won't keep that with you guys, but basically it melded, or it reduced the the little bit of alcohol tinge that you get here, and it made these flavors stand out better. So I was able to take better notes than, say, I would do right now tasting it live. So in this case, what do I think about this overall? Obviously, I enjoy this, and that's pretty clear. So what this is gonna do is end up between a buy it and a stock it. Now, the only reason I wouldn't go stock it here is that I do think this is a great introduction to sherried Scotch and something that you could enjoy whenever. But I do think that there are better sherried Scotches out there. But for the price, I don't know. This is pretty solid. I would love this more at like $50, but because it gets up to that 60, it kind of puts it within reach of some other options that I might consider. So would I recommend that you stock this? If you are new to Scotch, I think this would be a good one to have on your shelves because I think it's a fun one to introduce people to. So in that instance, I would give it a stock it. But for me personally, that's a tough one because I literally just bought a second bottle. You know what? Yes, it's been a while. I think this one is worth keeping on your shelf at all time. I'm gonna say you should stock this one. If for no other reason, it's very enjoyable. You're never gonna be sad to pour this one, even if you have better options available to you. You'll easily be able to share this with people and they'll enjoy it. I think everything about this whiskey is fantastic, and I think you owe it to yourself to go spread your wings and try this one out. Thank you for joining me here on the Whiskey Dictionary. I hope that you learned something about Glenallachie, and I hope that you go out and try this one. Truly, it's worth it. So, thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Cheers.